Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Inshallah, we will continue our series in complete denture, and today we'll talk about the special tray. Before I start this subject, I just wanted to add a note to the video regarding the manipulation of the impression compound. All the video is correct and the procedure is okay. Just at the end of the video, I forgot to mention, as you can see in this picture, it will appear here, that the impression compound is adapted to the shape of the impression before taking impression. It is a very important step that must be done before taking the impression. This information and all the information that I take are from the Complete Denture Prosthodontics, this textbook. So now we will talk about the special tray of a complete denture. This video will mix between the theoretical and the clinical practical work, so you will see me mention the steps and perform them in front of you. Let's start with some introduction about the construction of the special trays for a complete denture. These trays can be most suitably made from self-curing acrylic resin. This textbook does not mention the new light cure acrylic that is found in the market. They can be made by either lying down a sheet of dough over the cast and adapting it with wet cotton wool or the fingers. This is the regular traditional work, or we can take a longer steps but more accurate and more clean work, in which constructing a wax pattern of the finished tray on the cast. So we will construct a wax pattern just like when we are building a denture, but without teeth. Only constructing a wax pattern, then investing, boiling out and packing the self-cure, not hot cure, only self-cure. So the same steps of making a denture, in which we will construct a wax pattern without teeth, only the wax pattern of the special tray, then invest, then boil out. This will create the space that will be filled with packed self-cure material, not packed hot cure material. The aim is to produce a tray which in the mouth has a periphery that lies just short by 1 mm of the reflection of the mucosa when the tissue are at rest. So we want this special tray to be shorter by 1 mm from the tissue reflection at the rest. Such a position is not at all easy to decide on the cast, of course, particularly in the presence of degree of tissue distortion because of the impression material. So what we will do, how to determine this position of the special tray. Therefore, a point is chosen where the mucosa begins to turn outward into the sulcus. This will be called the tissue reflection point. As you can see in this picture, these arrows represent the tissue reflection points. It is the points at which the mucosa begin to turn outward into the sulcus. So these points will be the position of the special tray. Now let's start our real work. Constructing a special tray for a complete denture have two steps. The first step, which is the determining the outline of the special tray. So before we go to construct a special tray, we need to determine the outline of the special tray on the cast and mark the outline. So when we will construct the special tray, it will be easy. Let's start with the upper tray. I will talk the theoretical part first, and you will see it after that. Let's start with the upper tray. The first step in the determining the outline of the upper tray, draw a line across the palate, passing 1 mm distal to the hamular notch and 2 mm distal to the fovea palatine. If the fovea palatine are not evident, draw the line straight across from the hamular notch to hamular notch. The aim is to produce a tray which just covers the vibrating line. So this is the first step. Now let's see how to do this step. The second step, continue the line into the tuberosity sulcus on each side at the tissue reflection point and continue it forward, avoiding the labial and buccal frena. So this is the second step. Let's see how to do it. The third step, within each frenum is a fibrous strand, and the tray should not impinge upon it at all. The border of the tray should be cleared by 1 mm. So let's see this step. So now let's talk about determining the outline of the lower special tray. This will be divided into two parts, the buccal sulcus part and the lingual sulcus part. Let's start with the buccal sulcus part. Draw a line across the back of the retromolar pad at right angles to the ridge. So this is the first step. Let's see how to do it. The second step, draw a line 1 mm lateral to the external oblique ridge. Join the posterior end of this line to the lateral end of the first line. So this is the second step. Let's see how to do it. The third step, now starting at the anterior end of the external oblique ridge, continue the line forward around the buccal frenum at the tissue reflection point. Repeat for the other side. So the same steps, continue at the tissue reflection area and avoid the frenum by 1 mm. Let's see how to do it. Now let's talk about the lingual sulcus. The first step, prior to outlining the lingual periphery, it is necessary to provide a means whereby the tray will be spaced over the mylohyoid muscle, so that this may contract freely when making the impression. This is accomplished by outlining area overlying the part of the muscle which lies directly beneath the mucosa. This lies below the mylohyoid ridge, but should not include the retromolar pad area. So, draw a line along the mylohyoid ridge. This will join the sulcus reflection in the premolar region. From the posterior end of the mylohyoid ridge, draw an oblique line forward and down to the sulcus in the front of the retromylohyoid fossa. The outline of the triangular area overlying the muscle has now been drawn. Its lower border, being the sulcus reflection, cover this area with 2 mm layer of wax. The next step, draw the rest of the lingual border with a line at the tissue reflection point. Posteriorly, this will pass upward just behind the retromylohyoid fossa. Join this part of the lingual end of the line crossing the retromolar path. So this was the procedure of determining the outline of the special tray. All what is left is to make a dough of self-cure acrylic or to use this ready-made light cure acrylic and make the special tray. The most important step and the most neglected step is the determining of the outline of the special tray. We must determine the outline before making the special tray. Thank you for watching, and inshallah we'll meet in the next video.